Yeah, let's talk about those photos of the Nintendo Switch 2 that have been shared online. And just in case you're joining us for the first time,
Welcome to the countdown to the Switch 2.
yeah, for those of you wondering, where does your ad revenue go? Right there. We joke, but like this is literally the biggest story in the gaming industry right now. Nintendo is reportedly about to announce the Nintendo Switch 2 starting in January. So sorry to the kids who got the Nintendo Switch this Christmas. The Nintendo Switch 2 is literally coming out a couple weeks later. However, this story is a little unique because last week's show we talked about how someone by the name of Next Handheld went on Reddit and they were like, I've seen it. I've seen the Nintendo Switch 2. Ask me anything. AMA, OMG. And they went into a ton of details. It was like, hey, this is what the bezel looks like. This is what the dock looks like. Here's some cool features. Here's a game that might be coming with it. And a lot of people were like, we want proof. And he's like, I'll give you proof. I took photos, but I'll give you those photos on Christmas. And so the entire internet, we're sitting there. We're waiting. Presents are opening. We're looking at our stockings. But the whole time, what are we doing? We're pulling on our phone. I'm refreshing Reddit while my kid's opening up her Disney Princess Barbies. I'm just like, I'm glad you got that, but hold on. Switch 2. And I'm just refreshing Reddit. And boy, oh boy, was the wait worth it, because the photos we got were images of the Nintendo Switch 2 dock, which obviously is rounded, like Next Handheld was saying, but it also gave us a photo of a side profile of the Nintendo Switch, which we can only assume are magnets that the Joy-Cons connect to. Personally, there's a bunch of school of thoughts that I have here. One, if this is truly the real photos of the Nintendo Switch 2, why hasn't Nintendo taken it down? And remember, we're talking about the company that hands out lawsuits like candy on Halloween. You know, someone's like, trick-or-treaters come to Nintendo's door and they're like, oh, you're dressed up as a Pokemon. And he's like, actually, I'm a pal. And Nintendo's like, give me that candy back, you kid. But again, I mean, that's the thing. And these photos have been up for 48 hours. Still not taken down. And I guarantee you, if these were the real photos, Nintendo would take them down. Now, granted, these photos were posted on Christmas. And that's the part where I'm like, maybe no one at Nintendo has been able to get to this. However, knowing a few lawyers, they're not afraid to work holidays. And I bet you they're chomping at the bits to be like, what's that, Nintendo? You want me to do what? Yeah, let's do it. Here's my bill. And again, if the photos get taken down, I think that'll be the best evidence to the fact that this is real. Now, the second school of thought I have with this is like, okay, these could be real, right? They look real enough, and it looks like stuff that I'd be like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. I mean, if you look at the actual photos of the dock, there's details in it that also I'm like, wow, that's a lot of detail to put into it for it to be a fake image. One of them in particular is like the UL, the ETL, all of like the safety listings that are on the back of the dock that are listed there. That's a detail that I'm just like, if someone was going to fake this, I don't know if they would go into that much effort. You also look at things that like the Switch 2 and like the bezel, and just like, man, that's a lot of info. And it's just, yeah, maybe the guy was working on it for like 3 to 4 months, and they're like, okay, hey, I'm going to fool the internet and send them on a wild goose chase. And yeah, sure. But I also am just like, why would you waste so much of your time to make these fake? I guess, I don't know. And then I guess that third school of thought is that like, yeah, these are fake. Right? I've seen so much conversation over the last day and a half of people being like, these are fake. You know, people zooming into the photos and enhancing and just being like, look at the edges surrounding the dock. It looks like it's been cropped out and put over a new background. To which some people were like, well, hey, he probably cropped it and put it over a new background to protect his, identity, so they don't know who this is. And then I saw someone else who was like, we put this into an AI detection generator, and it said that this image was 91% AI generated. I'm like, okay, well, what's the 9%? What 9% was not produced by it? Are we talking about the dock? Because then, yeah, see, maybe that's the part he did crop out. And who knows? I mean, and this is the thing that terrifies me about like social media and AI, is that we're not going to know anything, right? We're going to go online and we're going to see things that look way too real to be true. And we're going to be like, oh, wow, that video looks really good. And I guess I always say like paranormal, right? Anytime you look at a paranormal video, you can always find things and you're like, that's probably fake, or yeah, that never really happened. But I've seen so many AI videos over the past couple weeks where I'm like, I don't know if I could tell if that was fake or not. And I guess when it comes to like gaming and gaming news, when you looked at like the PS4 prototypes, like the controllers that used to come out, and they were like you could tell that they were kind of fake. We're going to get to a point where like the PlayStation 6 comes out where like AI is generating controllers and we're like, man, that might be the controller. And who knows? This story might be that occasion. You know, I'm saying PlayStation 6, but this could be an AI-generated console and none of us can determine whether it's real or whether it's fake. And the fourth school of thought, I guess, that I'm seeing right now is a lot of people are like, okay, well, maybe they're faked images, but they're based off of real things. And I saw someone, Pyro, who's like a Nintendo leaker, he was like, okay, hey, this is actually like the Switch 2 logo that I have personally seen on documents, so I can confirm that. And maybe someone took like a 3D printer and they created a mock-up, and that's what we're seeing here. Again, it's weird. And not to get like off subject again, but like when it comes to conspiracies or theories or stuff like this, it's just one of those that I'm like, if you were to sit in front of me and say that this is a microphone, and I'd be like, well, no, that's a pen, right? The majority of us would look at it and we'll say, this is a pen. But on the internet, someone would be like, this is a microphone. And you're going to have like 10 or 12 people that'll be like, yeah, that is one. And then they'll defend that it's a microphone because they'll say, well, his finger is covering the cord, so you're not seeing the cord. And that tip is not a tip, it's actually the where you talk into the microphone. And this is a brand new Sharpie pen microphone, and the CIA has been using microphones. Like, they'll defend it just because they want to, and that's where I am right now. Is like, I really had to pull myself back because personally, as much as I want these images to be real, I don't think that they're real. Like, I want to believe. I want to believe that these images leaked and we're seeing the first images of the Nintendo Switch 2, but I just can't. And I guess the things that I'm struggling with is like when you look at the dock and we see the Nintendo Switch 2 logo, as someone that's pretty efficient in Photoshop, I look at that and I'm like, it doesn't really look like the back of a dock, and it looks more like someone put the Nintendo Switch 2 logo over it and just put opacity to like 10. And then I also look at like the photo of this individual holding the console on its side, and the first thing I notice is that their watch is over their sweater, and I'm just like, that's a really weird style or a really weird concept. Like that you're gonna put your watch over your clothes. I just, maybe that's a trend in Asian culture. Maybe it's because I know this person says they're from Japan, so maybe that's something that you do in Japan, but I don't know. I've never seen that before, and it just seems kind of something like AI would mess up on. Right? Like AI can't do fingers. Maybe AI doesn't know that you don't put your watch over your clothes, you put it on your skin. And I think like the final thing that's stopping me from believing that these images are real is that Nintendo hasn't shut them down. Because trust me, Nintendo is the most litigious company in the history of video games. They used to take down videos like this that talked about Nintendo on YouTube just because they wanted to make the monetization on these videos and they wanted to be the only people talking about Nintendo. Like, they are not going to let stuff like this leak. So that to me is the most damning part. But either way, whether the images are real or whether they're fake, the good news is the Nintendo Switch 2 is reportedly being revealed in January, so we're not going to have to wait much longer. And I've seen like conversations of like the first week or second week. We're not going to speculate there because like when it happens, it happens. We'll obviously be talking about it here on the show, so stay tuned there. And then they're talking about releasing the Nintendo Switch 2 in March. So we'll have this in our hands within the matter of 3 months. So January, you've got the announcement. March, you have the release. And then come this time next year, all the Nintendo executives are just going to be in a conference room like, woohoo, Nintendo Switch 2!